Hi! So today is Sunday and my kids are at my parents' house, so I have 2 hours to do what I gotta do in this car. I do have a bit of time tomorrow as well, but by Tuesday I need to start painting, so hopefully we'll get there. Main reason I need to paint now, even though it's cold outside, is because I want to paint before I add the felt on the walls. And I need to add the felt on the walls before I build the bed. So if I don't do the painting now, I'm kind of stuck. It's 3 degrees Celsius outside right now. Would be kind of good greenhouse building weather, but I need to get this done. So I'm gonna have to prioritize the van again. Hopefully soon we can get on with the greenhouse. I have a heating fan with me because I need to start heating up the van today. I have not plugged it in yet because then you wouldn't be able to hear me clearly because it's not a quiet machine. The van needs to get up to temperature and since it's metal, it both takes no time at all and also quite a long time to get everything thoroughly warm. So I'm gonna get as much of the material up today as I can. And tomorrow I will do the first coating of paint on all these, just so they don't show through the white paint later on. And tomorrow I also have to go and buy some paint. That's on my to-do list. Apart from adding material to the walls and fixing holes and so on, I'm also gonna have to cut this part out and remove this one. We'll see what I get done today. Adding material is the priority. I can saw when it's cold, but I can't paint when it's cold. So let's get to work. Why do things always take longer than you expect them to? The background sound is courtesy of my friend here, who's warming up the space to a really nice temperature, which makes it awful going out to use the jigsaw. I have managed to get some material on the bathroom walls. There will be trim later on as well. Tomorrow I can go ahead and make sure that everything is smooth and ready for paint, and there's also going to be some wallpaper. So paint, wallpaper and felt are what I'm gonna working with this coming week. I have 40 minutes until I have to be at my parents to pick up the kids. They live just a couple of minutes away, but it still gives me nowhere near enough time for what I need to do. So I am going to cut this one off so that's done, so you can put some trim on here later on. I should be starting on the ceiling because the ceiling is getting painted. The walls are not, they are getting felt, and I could do the felt in a bit colder conditions. But to be completely honest, I just really don't want to start on that mess. I mean, everything I build is a bit of a mishmash and you know, it's like a puzzle. And if you are one of those van builders or who are doing everything perfectly, stripping down your van to nothing and rebuilding and doing it perfectly, I wish I had a van that was worth doing that with, but yeah. Alright, so back in the van. It's nice and toasty in here. We have about 15 degrees Celsius in the van. So about 17 degrees warmer than outside, so that's nice. Today I have to tackle that hole in the roof. I don't want to, but I need to. I have the heating on in the van. It's costing me money each day it's on, and I need to be able to paint it. But yeah, I really don't want to do this. This one is going to be the most difficult one because it has a cutout here, and it also goes underneath the fan, and the screw here is painted over. The most logical way to do this would be to cut this one all the way back here and cut this one here. We'll see how I get on, but I do not want to do this. Let's go. Alright, so I'm not going any further with the ceiling than here because there's a lot of wires here. So that's going to be covered behind whatever sheet I put up here. Instead, this is also going to be above the bed, so it's not that big of an issue. What I'm going to do now is I am really quickly going to clean out the van because there is a lot of things here. So what I'm gonna do now is clear all of these things out of this van, and the reason for that is because I'm not happy about the sheeting from yesterday. It's bad. I mean, this is not pretty looking, you gotta agree, and it's not even covering all the way. So I am going to have to patch this part up, but tomorrow I'm starting up the van and going to our closest construction store and having them cut 4mm plywood that fits on both sides for me, and so I can just load it straight into the van. So I totally forgot about this space, so let's fix that while we're at it, and then I get to paint. Alright, let's get to the fun part and do some... Woo! My tripod was coming undone. Let's get to the fun part that I'm looking forward to and do some painting. Alright, so I didn't have paint to go exactly all the way, but at least I got all the ends in the wood. Tonight I'm going out and filling in some places where there's some material missing. I probably won't film that because it's going to be dark. So it's time to do some painting. My plan was to go and get the material to cover the walls for the felt as well today, but I realized I should probably finish painting first because the felt adhesive, it only needs to be warm while I apply it, so I can do that. I can turn on the heat and turn it back off when needed. So today, yesterday evening I was out here and put some spackle in some places, and this morning I just very quickly sanded it. Let's do some painting. Oh, also, I'm in my pajama pants because I have a tendency to ruin my clothes when I paint, and I have a tendency to paint in my everyday clothes. I'm taking a precaution and working in pajama pants and very beaten up Crocs today. But I have 16 degrees in the van currently, so let's paint some ceiling. This is incredibly boring, and it's almost worse because there is already white here before, so it's a bit hard to see. I mean, I can tell that the new white is warmer, white, but still. I'm not hyperlapsing, so you can see all of the painting because I use my phone to record, and I need to listen to a podcast or something to not lose my mind of how boring this is and how much my arms hurt from standing like this. I'm currently listening to Still Buffering, their latest episode. If anyone has any suggestions for podcasts that are somewhat lighthearted, I can't do murder shows anymore, not since I got kids. I can't handle them. Lighthearted, fun podcasts to listen to while at work, please put them in the comments because I need more in my rotation. Okay, let's keep working. We are at the halfway point. I know this one is shiny now because it's still wet, but I still think you can see that it looks softer with the slightly warm white instead of the very bright white. I won't be filming while I paint in here because that's gonna be pointless. You're just gonna see my back turned against the camera. So I've always wanted to try making one of these. Do you think I can? Let's see. And it's green. Let's paint the outside another kind of green. Okay, so let's talk about the colors. This is the same wallpaper I had in the old campervan kitchen. It's a leftover from our old kitchen. And then I was going for two greens here. One on the outside that's a bit darker and one on the inside is a bit lighter. They're not that different from each other actually. As you can probably tell, this one is lighter and this one is darker, but I don't think the difference is that big. I do have 5 small jars of green paint in the garage, so I'm gonna go and find those and see if we can try something else. Day 2 of painting the van. We'll just get to painting because I want this to be over with. painting the ceiling is a pain, and painting in the bathroom is even worse because the space is tiny, there's a lot of angles to consider, and you don't want to get paint on you where you're already painted. So this wall is the quickest part of the entire van to paint. So it kind of feels like my reward for putting up with the ceiling and the inside of the bathroom. This is actually really fun. And I like painting with dark colors because before it dries you can really see where you're painting, unlike the white ceiling where everything looks the same. Hopefully next week I will have carpeted the walls. That's my goal, at least. We'll see. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic week. If you have any recommendations for podcasts for me to listen to while I work, please send them in the comments below. And have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.